Parshat Achrei Mot Kedoshim 5783, sending off from Yom HaShoah, Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaTzma'ut, and now in the next cycle of Lag BaOmer and Yom Yerushalayim that are coming up, and maybe how this Parsha of Achrei Mot Kedoshim is the transition between these two cycles. The cycle of Yom HaShoah, Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaTzma'ut is speaking about present history, and it's dealing with things that have to do with the national pain and growth. And when we think about the story of Lag BaOmer, revealing the idea of Torat HaNistar, which obviously is dealing very much with the future, and Yom Yerushalayim, which is very much dealing with the future. So we go from a national transformation of the present of Am Yisrael to two different experiences which are very much dealing with where we're going for in the future. And the question is, how do we transition from A to B? How do we transition from the national present situation to become people that are extremely involved, excited, and passionate about the future? Obviously, we're not speaking right now about Pesach Sheni, which is also coming up Bezrat Hashem very soon. But Pesach Sheni is on its own, and Bezrat Hashem, maybe we'll speak about it at a different time. But more this idea of not separating Pesach, but dealing with these two distinct experiences of expanding the present and recognizing the beauty of the future. And I think it comes down to a pasuk in our parsha that says in Perek Tet Zayin, pasuk Yud Zayin, V'kol Adam lo yeh imo bakodesh bevo'o lechaper. It describes on Yom Kippurim, when the Kohen Gadol goes into Kodesh Kodashim, how do you go in? How do you go into Kodesh Kodashim? And the beginning words are V'chol Adam lo yiyeh. And on a literal level, it means that the entrance to Kodesh Kodashim is on his own. But the great Hasidic masters realized that in this pasuk, we're asking a major question, which is, how do we elevate ourselves to Kodesh Kodashim? The Kodesh is the present, things that we know, things that we're involved in. Very much what we saw in Yom HaTzma'ut, the level of celebrations and of dancing and of feeling connected and of walking around and seeing the Kodesh of the days that we live in. But then we get to the question of, how do we get to Kodesh Kodashim? How do we regain Kodesh Kodashim? How do we rekindle Kodesh Kodashim on Yom Yerushalayim? How do we get to Lag BaOmer, where we reveal again Torat HaNistar? And I think because of that, the Hasidic masters say, V'chol Adam lo yiyeh, is not only describing that concept that no one else can enter, but it's speaking about the mental state that the Kohen Gadol needs to be in. V'chol Adam lo yiyeh. To not view himself naturally. To realize that he's not an Adam. Whatever that means. Maybe he's an angel. Maybe he's a soldier. Like today, where David Hernick and Ethan Frankel, Aviav Bernstein, together a week ago before with Rafa Andruzier, they all went in to put on the green uniforms, saying to themselves, V'chol Adam lo yeh. It's a moment in our lives that we're not celebrating being an individual. We're celebrating becoming something that is not natural. And the idea of entering Kodesh Kodashim is the ability to realize that nature is something that we're involved with, but it is not something that defines us. It's not something that describes who we are, and it will not describe where we're going. B'chol Adam lo yeh, to go into Kodesh Kodashim, we have to be able to realize that the natural reaction is not always our highest level. The natural reaction when we get rebuked is to answer. And says the Gemara Yumina olvin ve'inan olvin shomin chilpatan ve'inam meshivim. People that are able to go beyond their nature. We know that there's the idea of lifnim mishurat adin, that there's the natural way of doing things, and there's lifnim mishurat adin. That there's an idea called ayin yafa. There's an ayin that could objectively see what there is, but there's an ayin that subjectively sees the yafeh. And I think that the transformation into the future is that we have to realize that we could go above and beyond our nature. Is that, yes, we have an amazing present, and we have to really recognize it and celebrate it. But now we also have to realize that it's just the beginning. So many of us look at Yom HaAtzmaut and we're at the climax. But how many people don't even feel it? How many people walk around and it's a random day? And so the bracha v'chol adam lo yiyeh, to go from the beginning of Iyar to the end of Iyar, the beginning of Iyar dealing with the Kodesh, and the end of Iyar dealing with the Kodesh Kodeshim, that the way to get there is to realize that we don't have to be natural all the time. We don't always have to be balanced. We don't always have to view ourselves and ask what is normal, what's regular, that we're capable of saying to ourselves, okay, we've elevated the normal, but now we're ready to be surreal, to be extraordinary, and to expand our abilities to go beyond what we thought was possible.